G'day.
Good day, mate. Is it any better?
Yeah, sounds seems to be good. It's not chopping or anything. So
Oh, good.
yeah, I noticed your emojis changed. Did you do that? Did you change the
No, dude,
emoji?
it's Telegram messing with our heads, man. Like now I got an exclamation mark, a sheep, a totem, and a peace sign.
Dude, I think they're calling you a sheep, bro. What the fuck? Fucking Telegram, bro. Hello, viewers. Welcome to the third episode of Bits of Truth, a podcast discussing all things Bitcoin with our own little bits of truth incorporated here and there. This episode is brought to you by Rain Trozzy. And I myself, Austin McLaren. So, Rain and I were having a little bit of a discussion um, before we capped it off here, and one of the topics being what is the idea behind one Bitcoin being worth one Bitcoin as opposed to one Bitcoin is worth X amount of dollars. And shout out to Adam Meister, by the way, that's his saying. But kind of the idea of that is not pegging Bitcoin to things like the dollar, or not pegging it to, like a house you can buy or this and that, by just kind of viewing Bitcoin for what it is. Well, one, you're not losing your hairline every time the price goes up and down because you're not really worried about the dollar valuation of Bitcoin. You're more concerned about how much Bitcoin you have. It's not like, oh man, my one Bitcoin's worth like 20,000 or something when last year it was 40,000. Uh, like, it's crashing. Bitcoin's gonna die. I gotta sell. I gotta sell. When you kind of take that approach to, I guess, valuing your wealth in Bitcoin, essentially, and this is more of a personal thing. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but when you take that approach, when you value your wealth in Bitcoin, um, it kind of releases a lot of that stress you get um, from just being in the space and in holding, because you're not really concerned about how much it's worth dollar wise. You're concerned about accumulating more. So last year you had zero point 0.2 of a Bitcoin. Now you have, a year later, you have 0.25. Although they may be the same price dollar wise, it doesn't affect you because you're actually glad, you're happy because you have zero point 0.5 more of a Bitcoin that in the future um you can put to great use, or you could put to great use now if you so decide. But yeah, kind of to loop it back, the whole idea of one Bitcoin being worth one Bitcoin is to essentially just take that switch and value Bitcoin for what it is, and kind of valuing your wealth in Bitcoin as opposed to the dollar. You get what I'm saying? You feel me?
Yeah, and I mean, if we measure anything by the dollar these days, I mean, we're bound to have a lot of inaccuracies in our measurements of value because the dollar is going through hyperinflation right now. So if the dollar is inflating by say 8% every year, well, your loaf of bread's getting smaller by 8% every year, but that's probably going to become incremental. 8%, 16%, 32%. We're in the final days of fiat currency, especially the dollar being a universal measurement of value. And I think in order to keep our heads on in terms of valuing things, we need to value things in something that's more consistent. Um, I think that eventually that will be Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin will get through the volatility and reach stability.
Mm.
But right now we're in the early throes. We're like 13 years into a 200-year process. So in some ways, I agree with this. One Bitcoin is worth one Bitcoin because that's a true statement. One equals one. That won't change. Um, there's no variables in that equation that are gonna be surprising.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
You're not going to wake up one morning and think, oh my goodness, my one Bitcoin's worth half a Bitcoin. No, your Bitcoin's worth a Bitcoin. So it's very
Whereas if you have
stable.
Whereas if you have a US dollar, yeah, the next day that US dollar might be worth 98 cents.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
yeah, if you're
that'd be a dream for me personally. I'd be throwing money in like there's no tomorrow if Bitcoin was 98 cents. Some people that'd be a
oh,
nightmare.
I mean if a $1 was 98 cents the next day,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
I
know?
see. I see.
Yeah, so if you're measuring Bitcoin in something that's constantly losing its value, then it's not really fair to Bitcoin, to yourself, to others, to the vision of what this technology is hoping to accomplish. Um, I do think there's a great symbiosis uh, currently and possibly forever between bullion and Bitcoin. I think that using bullion as our universal measurement of value has worked really well. And up until we start mining asteroid fields, the price of gold is going to be very consistent. Price of silver is going to be very consistent because those are your two ancient stores of wealth.
Hmm.
Their
Interesting.
relationship to our fiat system, it can be volatile. It can go up and down by $100 a day.
Yeah.
But if we were to be using bullion as it, historically has been used in coinage to buy and sell goods and services, then I mean, we wouldn't be looking at it like a stock exchange. Everything that we're seeing right now is so unnatural.
Mm. Mm. Okay, I want to jump back to this. I know this is so random, but um, when you said how like until we start mining asteroid fields and like gold and silver is gonna remain relatively the same price. Um, I'm just wondering what you think of interplanetary Bitcoin. Like when we're at that point where we are out there mining asteroid fields and stuff, how like kind of how do you think Bitcoin would handle like a Martian society trying to transact with Earth or like how like kind of you get what I'm saying? Like
Wow,
where do you think that's going? I know it's so out there, but that I had to bring it up.
that is such an interesting thought, Austin. That's the first time that's even crossed my mind. But the first thing that came to mind is that Bitcoin can travel a lot faster than a spaceship.
True.
um, so like maybe that's perfect. If we were to be able to establish an internet connection between Earth and the other colonies, whether that be wireless. I'm not sure if we should be messing around with electromagnetic fields too much of the galaxy.
Yeah. No
Um,
cables, definitely fucking wireless. You don't want some long cable pulling from Earth to like Mars or some shit.
that's a good point. Like if we try to make a cable that long, I bet our planet would be like shrunk by like two
Yeah.
thirds.
Yeah. We like slingshot
And
off
also
Mars into the sun or some
also
shit.
because like the planets are revolving at different rates. So like if we had a giant fiber optic cable, that'd work like one day of the year, but the other days it would snap. And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
wow, how long
Yeah.
does it take to fly to Mars at its closest, as it passes Earth the closest?
I don't know. I'd imagine it'd be months. Like you could probably search that out. How long does it
Because
take?
I thought I heard 4 months with our current technology. You'd hate
Seven
to miss
months.
7 months. Wow.
Yeah. I can only imagine how much of a delay there'd be on the internet connection there. Like us trying to do a podcast, like say you're on Mars or something, like you'd probably just be getting the first word by now.
Yeah, if you could be heard at all.
Yeah.
Although well, goodness, we're gonna go down some rabbit holes just talking about Bitcoin, but um, well, NASA claimed to put all those robots on Mars, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's real?
Hmm. I couldn't tell you. I really I would hope so.
In theory, if we've actually landed some robots on Mars, then well, we're sending and receiving because the robot has to transmit the data, which is probably more than a Bitcoin transaction.
Yeah.
And then, it's also receiving data.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how the heck they did that.
I'm kind of just wondering how like lining up the blocks would work, cuz it's a block like it's every 10 minutes, right? And if you're like trying to like line up the blockchain on Mars, which may have like who knows how long the delay would be. It could be days, it could be minutes, but like say it's like over 10 minutes, like then kind of what do you do? It's like they don't line up, and then after the first transaction it would just be a block. Like you just halt. I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any insights onto that?
They might queue it up for the because a block sometimes it takes more than 10 minutes
Yeah.
to to make a transaction with Bitcoin to get that first confirmation because sometimes there's a lot of people making transactions at the same time, so it gets queued up. You
Yeah.
know, I've had one Bitcoin transaction when I was purchasing from a peer to peer exchange. Took 30 minutes
Oh
to do
shit,
the
eh?
first confirmation. I was like freaking out. I was like, what? This is a record for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but maybe it would just work out like you don't need a super fast internet connection to use Bitcoin. You're only really sending not a huge amount of data when you're doing that. It's quite efficient data wise.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, to run a node, that's another question. If you wanted to run a node on Mars, that'd be pretty tricky.
Yeah. I was kind of
Yeah.
thinking of maybe like a solution. I don't know if how like feasible this is, but if they were to like pile up all the so like Mars, there'd be like a little society on Mars or some shit, and they're like doing their transactions, and then at the end of every day, let's say, or maybe not even every day, at the end of every like hour, it like piles up all these transactions and puts it in like some mega block, like a zip file of a block or some shit, and like sends it to Earth, and then like every hour the Mars chain or some shit gets updated. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I wonder if we could do that on Lightning.
Yeah.
Because the way Lightning works, you ever seen those pendulum balls?
Yeah, it kind of swings back and forth, right? Like click, 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 click.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the balls in the middle and then the balls on the sides.
Yeah.
And if you take two balls from the side, two balls on the other side go out.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's like equal.
yeah.
So this is the only way I've personally been able to understand Lightning. It's like the pendulum balls. So like if you have someone on the other side you want to send money to and you're already established a Lightning connection, all you
Mhm.
got to do is lift up your ball and then knock it, and then there's some rich guy with collateral in the middle, which is all the balls, and then the Bitcoin pops out the other side.
Interesting. What? How does the guy in the middle like? How does he get his share?
Well, there's like there's a small fee for doing that.
Okay.
Um,
But it sends
yeah,
it really
it's but
quick though. Like it zips it like a pendulum ball. It just boom, it's there.
yeah, like 10,000 times faster than Visa.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's second tier Bitcoin. So I'm still trying to understand the core, but
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah.
Lightning is tier two, so it's built on top of Bitcoin Core. And we're
Okay.
going through these generations of evolution. That's why I said we're 13 years into a 200-year process. Um, because what we're gonna see is like we're gonna see after Lightning's been widely adopted. Um,
There'll be
well,
something
we,
next.
will
There'll be like the next thing where it's like, for example, interplanetary shit, where it's like not only is
yeah,
it lightning, it's like space coin or some crap. It's like layer 3, shoot it through space.
yeah, there'll be tier three, tier four. I don't really know what that would look like. I think if I was able to imagine how to improve on Lightning, um, I'd be smarter than I am. So
Probably
I don't
be
know.
probably be working on it. Probably be there
But
with
I was
those guys.
talking. Oh, I was talking with some friends of mine who are professionals in the field,
Yeah.
and they were saying, Rain, um, your kids, and also, one of them was having a kid, and actually, I think that he was talking about his kid. He was saying, my kid will probably never use Bitcoin Core,
Hmm.
only second, third tier.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
that kind of
Yeah.
just blew me away because like
Yeah,
it's
because it'd
a,
be
it's
so
a
primitive, right? They'd look back and be like, "Geez, Dad, you what? How did you manage using that old technology? Like, it takes so long and it's forever, and you got to do all this crap. How did you do that?" Like, that's what they'll be looking at us
yeah.
like.
And when you compare Bitcoin to other cryptocurrencies, like Ethereum kind of claim to be more complex and capable of more complex things. But the thing with Bitcoin is that it's built on simplicity,
Mm,
because simplicity is the core principle of security. Everyone's like, "Oh, Bitcoin, it's like an old typewriter. It's so inefficient." Da da da. No, Bitcoin is like the foundational block of this pillar we're building. Like
yeah,
it's Bitcoin Core,
yeah. And if you
and
think like
it's
a typewriter, nobody's gonna hack your typewriter.
yeah,
No, like you can't fuck with somebody's typewriter unless you like really go in there and like take a hammer to it or some shit. But I think you could stop them before that.
yeah, yeah. Bitcoin Core is uncompromisable, and
Mm,
so as the technology develops and you build on the core, and you don't build in, well, there's no vulnerabilities at core. So if you build right, you go tier one, um, tier two at Lightning. Okay, Lightning's already 10,000 times faster than Visa. What are you people calling slow and clunky?
yeah, yeah,
That's
literally.
like that's the fastest transaction technology in the world, I'm pretty sure.
When we get to the point
The-
where there's a Martian society, we're gonna have to do like a race, like a transaction race between Visa and Bitcoin Lightning from Mars to Earth and back. Who can get the quickest transaction, and that'll be who reigns supreme.
yeah,
That'll be
or
like that'll
Visa
be the
just
race.
goes.
That'll be the race to be the global economy of Mars. Who can race their transaction to Earth and back gets to be the global economy of Mars, of the Martians.
This is how we should fight our wars. We should just have
Transaction
like,
wars.
yeah, well, China's already doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
but but yeah, we'll just have like nerd wars,
for
like,
real.
yeah, no more world war. We'll just
It's
get
not who
together
got the
and
biggest
play.
guns, it's who got the biggest brains.
Yeah, man. Well, we should do everything like with um Rublox or something.
In what?
I don't know, like we should have like chess online or Rublox. That's how we should decide
Oh yeah, yeah,
world
yeah.
affairs.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
everyone brings their smartest, most capable checkers player.
they're checkers, but yeah.
I could just imagine that. Like
Yeah.
Russia's got like this super genius.
Versus like America or something. Dude,
Oh my goodness.
that was actually kind of a thing. Who is it? It was Bobby Fischer versus this Russian guy, but like it got very serious. They took it like because this was in the 50s and shit, I believe. Um when, America and Russia were kind of beefing. And then they had like this chess tournament and it was an American Bobby Fischer versus this Russian guy, like young Russian guy. Um and it was pretty much like the duel of America versus Russia. And pretty much Bobby Fischer fucked with this guy's brain and was just like basically made him think he was going insane. And yeah, I think he forfeited, but Bobby Fischer ended up winning. But like, I don't know, it's kind of monumental because it was like a turning point. This American versus Russian guy um had a chess battle and they took it very seriously. at the time.
I love chess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite game.
Oh, really?
And there is a zone with it when it's two people of significant and equal level
Yeah.
in the technical.
Yeah.
There's literally like a brain war that goes on.
Really
I don't know how to describe it, but it's intense. I've been on the receiving end of it. I've been on the giving side of it.
interesting you say
But
that.
like,
I actually used to be pretty into chess. We should play chess sometime.
dude, yo, episode 4, we'll record a chess game
I would be
while we're
down.
talking.
I would be down. We could
That,
play some chess and like have a like record and shit. That would be awesome.
yo, we're finding our niche.
For real. Yeah. This start the Bitcoin chess players
Yeah, man.
Bitcoin chess player club.
Dude, I'm actually so down for that.
I know that'd be awesome.
Uh, what does it mean for people as a whole if Bitcoin reaches mass adoption? Like you were talking the other day about buying tacos because you and I are gonna buy our first taco from Taco Bell together, right?
From my local taco truck, but Taco Bell would be nice too.
Yeah, taco truck. Let's do the taco truck
Yeah.
because
Taco
I want
Bell's
that to
one thing.
happen.
Yeah, Taco Bell's one thing, but if we could get it to my local taco truck, cause like just outside the gym, there's a taco truck there, and I'm just waiting to be able to get that fucking taco in Bitcoin. But yeah, what does that mean? Like if we get to the point where you and I are actually sitting there at this taco truck, eating the taco that we paid in Bitcoin, um, kind of how I'd imagine like the mindset would have to be different, right? It couldn't be like because Bitcoin would be so entrenched into just society as a whole that like the philosophy would kind of rub off in a way. So like no more would people be, just give it like not taking responsibility for their money. Like if everybody's using Bitcoin and everybody's kind of, I guess you could say, in the Wild West with their money, people aren't going to be so keen to just hand it off to one, or I'd hope so. I'd hope people wouldn't be so keen to just hand it to one central organization so they can take their Bitcoins and like trade it for them and hopefully give them money back or something, because you never know if you'll get that Bitcoin back. There isn't really a law for that. Like once you give your Bitcoin away, um, it's whoever's in possession of it can do with whatever they want. So kind of what that means is people would have to really like clamp down and kind of take their finances seriously and kind of create their own way. And on the positive end, I see a lot of people accumulating generational wealth, just taking that philosophy, taking that responsibility and handing it down to their next generation and so on and so forth. So I see a lot of people um, kind of putting their money to work themselves in creating their own empires and not just giving it to somebody else to build up their own empire and they get the scraps off their coin, if you know what I mean. I know that was a little kind of all over the place, but the
No, it
general
makes
idea,
sense.
yeah, the general idea is people just taking responsibility for their financial futures pretty much.
And not only that, my exodusing off of the dirty money slave system.
Yeah,
You ever seen your driver license, Austin?
of course, I see it quite often. Yeah.
Do you have it handy? Like super
Um,
handy?
I do actually.
All right, get it out.
I got
Pretty
it.
please.
And
Okay.
here's the number. No, I'm just okay. Yeah.
but but what name's on the card?
Well, there's my name, Austin McLaren.
And how's it spelled?
McLaren Austin. and my middle name Moses.
That's a cool middle name, dude.
Thank you.
Is it in all caps?
It is in all caps.
Well, that's interesting, right? That's the corporation that was created upon your birth certificate and linked to you,
Ah,
but it's not you. That's actually a corporation that's bought and sold on the open market. That's basically your slave name. But your real name, as I see it on here on our call, is Austin McLaren with a capital A and a capital M, but otherwise lowercase.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
that Austin is the
There should be
living man.
a capital L in there, but I fucked that one up. But yeah, I get what you're saying
Oh
there.
no, there is a capital L. All right, you
Yeah,
got three caps here.
yeah, three
but
caps.
um, but like that basically corporate ID is the game that they trick us into playing that we never know that we're signed up for. It's fraud.
Mm,
That's how they tax us. That's how they do things to us that aren't lawful.
mm.
That's how they've enslaved everybody on the planet.
Well, like realistically, I could drive without this. Like who's gonna stop me if I just were to burn this, just erase this card and erase that from the records? Who's gonna stop me from just hopping in the car and driving?
Yeah, they have a lot of intimidation processes in place.
Yeah, but like say I just was completely unintimidated. Like I'd pretty much have to sever myself from society at that point. But like say I took that route. I mean, what's stopping me from just driving around the boonies, like living that off-grid boonie lifestyle?
I think we're all faced with the same question, and I might throw in a possible answer, which is ourselves.
True. Yeah, the fear of severing oneself from society is definitely a big one. It's definitely a big thing.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is that by mass adoption of Bitcoin,
Mm.
we make this slave system irrelevant, even if people don't have the knowledge base at that point to, write in to the crown and say, this was fraudulent. I'm claiming ownership of my corporation. I'm the living man. I'm not corporate fiction. Anyway, thanks. See you later.
Yeah, peace out. All my money's in Bitcoin and I'm driving around the boonies now. Bye guys.
But I've been told that we can actually take ownership of that corporation, but by default, it's owned by the state.
I see. I see. Kind of like how we can take
But
ownership of our money through Bitcoin.
yeah, and the thing is once we're on Bitcoin, we're into the pirate world, right? Like we're no longer tied to this corporate fiction.
Yeah. And once that becomes like the mainstream, once people are essentially their own pirates, swashbuckling, accruing the treasure, living that pirate's lifestyle, um, I could see great things coming out of that, man. Like real like crews building, like crews getting together, getting their wealth together, like that sense of community, going out, traveling distances, not tied down, and just building up that generational wealth for the
Yeah,
people.
or even homesteading in the same place. Like there's so many
Yeah,
lifestyles that are available to us.
yeah,
Um, but we get off of the slave system. Mass adoption of Bitcoin means no more tax. We're not being taxed for half of everything we earn, not taxed on income. We're not going to be taxed for our time, literally slaves for 50% of our working days. That
yeah.
ends when Bitcoin is mass adopted.
And that
And,
extra money, that 50% can be put to use into, for example, buying new materials for the homestead, leveling up your ship, metaphorically speaking, you know?
yeah, how much more could we do if we had twice as much wealth?
Yeah.
Like,
Twice as much, maybe even more, because it accrues, right?
yeah, it's
Compounded.
so true. We're able to reinvest it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, mass adoption for Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a dream.
So we get to the point where it's mass adopted. Everybody's living their own lifestyle, whether it be that pirate lifestyle, getting their crew together, um, going out and accruing that generational wealth, or they're homesteading and they're building up their own empire, whatever it may be. Um, what's missing? What's one way that the people could use Bitcoin that isn't really being talked about, and or that isn't really being done, and kind of like what we could do with that. Like, you imagine these people, they're going about their way, they're living their life, living that lifestyle, and we have all these things set up, but what would be like the cherry on top? What would be that par excellence way to use Bitcoin?
Oh boy. So like an unorthodox way to use Bitcoin that could be really helpful.
Yeah, like sure, Bitcoin is great in all its ways, but like, what would be the cherry on top? Like just that,
Oh,
like that
you know,
one way, you know, to really solidify, just be like, yes,
I don't know if I could give you the one cherry, but something does come into mind which I was looking into recently.
yeah,
Um, you know the difference between your private keys and your public keys, right?
yep. One you keep to yourself, and then you that's where you hold. That's how you access your wallet. The public key is kind of what you give out for people to send you Bitcoin, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so check this. You can literally encrypt messages, like fully Bitcoin level encrypted message with your private key,
Okay. With your
and then
private key.
someone, yeah, and then someone can decrypt it with your public key.
Ooh,
And you could even send that message over the blockchain in an encrypted format if you so wished. And if
interesting.
if you set it up in advance with your contact, you can have two-way communication because they could even send they can actually encrypt a message with your public key, and then you can decrypt it with your private key. So just to repeat that, you encrypt with your private key, send the encrypted message, your friend decrypts it with their public key.
With your
Your
public
friend
key.
can, yeah, with the public key that you're using
Yeah.
for the encryption, right?
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily need to be the same one as where you're keeping all your coins, but using the Bitcoin technology, Bitcoin with a capital B.
Yeah. Interesting.
And
And
then
they
they
can do
want to
that
send you
back.
yeah, they if they want to send you a message back, they could use your public key to encrypt it, and then literally only you would be able to decrypt that message with your private key.
I see. So if you and your crewmates are out in a vast and you see a bucket of loot, but you don't want anybody to know, then it's like sending a messenger, but if he can't be captured.
Yeah, or if he does it, then no one will understand it. But
Yeah, he'll be speaking
think of it,
another language. He'll be like, but
yeah.
you need like the little translator. You need the little translator for him to say, "Oh, the loot is coordinates X, Y, and Z."
Yeah, no, the enemy pirates will just look at it and be like, "Oh, it's in pain. Put it out of its
Yeah,
misery."
just blow his head off.
But like, check this. So like right now, you could send that over core,
Yeah.
and it could literally be an unstoppable encrypted message. It'd be slow as anything for messaging,
Mm.
but you could do that.
Yeah. If you're sending like coordinates to like your treasure chest, you probably wouldn't mind spending the extra 10 minutes encrypting the shit out of it.
It doesn't take that long actually. Like
No?
once you got it set up, it's relatively simple.
Oh,
I can do it on my Electrum wallet. Like it's built in to existing software.
interesting.
But check this out, dude. So we were talking earlier about the Lightning Network, second tier, third tier Bitcoin applications. So things that are doing things using Bitcoin better.
Mhm. Yeah.
Check this out, man. Using the Lightning Network and Bitcoin Core encryption, an instant 10,000 times faster than Visa messaging service with pretty much the best encryption in the world.
Shit, eh?
And you could, you know, be having your application decrypt end to end. So like you could basically see it on your screen,
Yeah. Like
like
you could build
normal
an app, you
messaging
could build like an
service.
app out of that. That's nuts.
Yeah, but that's like taking a golf club to Mark Zuckerberg's balls, you know? like like
Yeah.
something like that would be the end of monitoring our communications.
Oh yeah, definitely with the whole like surveillance shit going on. That could be a really like powerful thing to tap into there. That'd be nuts.
And not only that, it's completely decentralized, just like Bitcoin's decentralized.
Yeah.
Like we typically with our communication systems, our secure communication systems, you know, Telegram, Proton Mail, Wire, Signal, etc.
Yeah.
We use those services in faith that the central processing units that are running those systems aren't maliciously set up.
Okay.
But the whole principle of Bitcoin, or one of the principles of Bitcoin, is don't trust, verify.
Mm.
So if I'm not able to verify that my signal message is actually secure and that company is not going to be bought out and sold to a company like Facebook, which I don't know,
Yeah, who
it's like Big Brother. They want,
Lord knows what happens then.
yeah, they want to know everything about me so they can sell stuff to me and I don't know, make like an AI replica.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
But
That's like that I would say is definitely a cherry on top right there. Not only do you get decentralized, you know, currency, but you also get decentralized communication. Currency and communication decentralized, boom, you like secret fucking society type shit right there.
yeah, and and that's a huge, like, we decentralize finance, we decentralize communication. Man, we could probably decentralize everything. And then there's never room in the future for totalitarian idiots to run our lives into the ground. No one is ever going to have the monopoly over mankind to put us in the little cages, enslave us in our own house, tell us you have to take a shot to go to work. No one's going to have the power over communication, over media, over anything because we set the checks and balances in place on your and I's generation. And then this war is done. We can head to the stars next because the parasites that are controlling us for thousands of years are under the rocks. They're
Mhm.
done.
And then that's when it
Now is
gets
our time, and Bitcoin is the technology to push this change through.
definitely, definitely. I like how you said then we're off to the stars to kind of loop it back to that Martian society, baby. Bitcoin, Martian society. Let's get it.